Broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown studios at Santander Stadium. Talking York's home teams. Welcome to York College Spartans Sports Weekly on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. Now, here are your hosts of Spartan Sports Weekly, Daryl Henry and Scott Geis.
And Derek Barenshausen. It is the three-headed monster here in studio this week. Studio A. Should we name the studio? It's the new studio. Our first ever York College Spartans Sports Weekly from the new studio. Welcome, guys. Give me your analysis.
It's the house that Daryl Henry built.
Well, not really, but
it's pretty swanky. I like it.
It's nice. It's a little bit of a different view. I did like overlooking the field, but this isn't certainly a bad view and certainly a nice place. And once we decorate the walls with York College and Revs paraphernalia, we'll be in great shape.
Thank you. Ray and I were talking this past week, and I wanted to bring it up on the air so that you couldn't say no. I would like to get some York College stuff to decorate the studio with.
I know some people. We may be able to make that happen. So, we can maybe even have some coaches in as guest appearances and present you with stuff to put on the walls.
Man, I wouldn't say no.
We might be able to make that work. So, yeah.
Spartan swag. What would you start with? What's the best thing in your office?
The best thing in my office is my Bowling Green flag. Are you kidding me? No.
Okay, the next best thing.
No.
Packers stock.
Yeah, we have.
Derek's dismissed.
We kind of have a bunch of. We have some personal items that are up, but we could bring over some game programs and frame those babies up and hang those up, and we could. I'm sure we can make something work. Add a little bit of character to the studio, I would say.
Yeah. Well, right now it's the walls and us, and
way to ambush us. We like that. That's nice.
Some chords coming out too.
Well played. Some random chords. It's great.
Yeah, they have a purpose eventually. But
we're here in short sleeve shirts.
And
we're happy.
It works.
It works. It works. So no, this is a great little place. I'm sure people will. Once this gets up and rolling, and people will be standing outside watching us. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah. Well,
it'll be like a little fishbowl.
It'll be like the Today Show. We normally at this time of the program we offer a weather report, and one of our motivations to do that was the fact that we were pretty much in the weather ourselves. Being out in the press box was like, well, basically being outside at this time of the year. So now our gauge is completely gone. I have no idea what it looks like.
It is absolutely gorgeous out right now.
It's toasty in here.
We were talking on the way over. I'm not quite sure that we've hit the car thermometer said 55 degrees. I'm not sure that we've hit 55 degrees in 2015. I'm sure maybe I'm wrong, but it feels great outside, and certainly it's nice to look out our windows and see the snow melting, and we're starting to see the green of the soccer field again, and the red of the track. So hey, it can't really thaw quick enough. We got a lot of stuff that's starting to back up schedule wise. So the more thawing we can get, the better off we are, for sure.
I saw some tweets today. What's the latest with scheduling issues?
Well, we're not playing our next scheduled game. Well, I shouldn't say. We have a couple of lacrosse games this week, but our next baseball, softball game, we have a chance to go down to St. Mary's on Wednesday. I haven't heard anything about that. But the two home games this week on Tuesday and Thursday against Rowan and FMM have been postponed. There's a slight chance we could play our doubleheader on Saturday at home against Marymount. I don't know. We're still, there's so much thawing that has to take place. One of the biggest problems with a natural turf baseball field and softball field, for that matter, is things freeze and then they thaw, but they never get to dry out because they refreeze at night. So we need a couple nights above 32 degrees to enable the dirt to thaw and to be able to get it in, turn it over, get the air to it. Quite frankly, the best thing that can happen is we're supposed to get a little rain tomorrow, wash the rest of the snow away, and then let that drying process start. So if we can get that done, maybe Saturday, maybe. I think more realistically, if we don't get any more weather, we might have an opportunity to play at the beginning of next week. So, that such is life in the northern climate with a Division III baseball program. So, softball was scheduled to play at home Wednesday. They've moved that back. They actually aren't home till the 26th, I think, is our home. Will be our home debut now. So. Which is a shame because both teams got off to a really good start on their spring trips this last week.
Maybe one day we'll play at Jaquette Dome. if this keeps up.
I would just like to have a turf field, quite frankly. If we had a turf field, we could play tomorrow because we could shovel it. We could plow it and have it ready because it's going to be 55 degrees tomorrow. We would have an opportunity to play baseball if we had a turf field. That would be ideal, actually.
And of course, we do over at lacrosse. And what is the surface like these days with that?
We play games on Saturday at home, so they were able to plow all that snow off.
Good as normal?
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it might have been
a mad scramble.
Yeah,
Friday
it was a mad scramble
morning
to get it ready, but our grounds crew did a great job, and our teams came out
into the night, right?
Yeah, they worked deep into the night to get it done, and so it was good to see that we're able to play, and that's a great thing about having turf. I mean, you have that ability. Now, baseball, softball fields, softball obviously on a smaller scale. Baseball, when you have 8 inches of snow, that's a little harder to move. But like now, there's probably 2 or 3 inches of snow. It'd be really easy to clear off and be able to play. So that is, someday I think that's the hope, to have a turf field where the maintenance is very low as opposed to what it is now. I mean, our kids bust their tails to have that field ready to play during the course of the year. So, someday, maybe, hopefully. You're starting to see that trend in Division III schools now of schools getting turf. I know Johns Hopkins just added turf last year. It's a beautiful field. There's other the trend is in Division III to start heading towards that, to have turf fields so you can practice. More importantly than playing games, you need to be able to practice. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to do that at this time of year, certainly in baseball and softball.
We are going to start with those two sports on this week's show. And, you mentioned the guys busting their tails to get the field ready. They are the grounds crew, and that's been a long-standing tradition. I don't know if that's the case with every program around the country or not, but I know it's a Spartan tradition.
I would guess probably not, but we also have one of the best playing surfaces in the country. So, it's kind of give and take. And our guys know that going in. They know when they're getting recruited, and they see the guys out working. They understand it. It's kind of a given. Now, we do have a staff of grounds people dedicated to doing some athletic things that have increased, and they've taken a more active role. But guys are still responsible on game day, getting everything ready and ready to go for games and for practices.
Well, this is your College Spartans Sports Weekly. A lot of spring sports, of course, to talk about this week. And you can find us on air online at WOYK1350.com, also on the WOYK mobile apps. And if you missed one, the archives are on WOYK1350.com and YCPSpartans.com. Those archives powered by the WOYK YouTube channel. And
just updated about 10 minutes ago by me. So
nicely
we're all caught up with the exception of today's show, but we'd love everybody to come back and if you missed something, certainly take a listen and find out what's going on in Spartan sports.
All right. Well, the big news, perhaps, Derek is no longer in the third row. You guys are at the round table here in our new studio. High topper, yes. A little bit different perspective for you.
I'm waiting for some fried appetizers to show up. I'm not sure where those are at. Let's go.
Waiting a while, but looking down upon me.
I thought Ray was supposed to get on that for us.
Yeah, Ray, get on that. Just kidding, Ray. All right, well, we'll start with baseball and softball. And, guys, the teams, they're like geese. They migrate south at this time of year so that they can actually play some games and get their season started. And from what I understand, the baseball team, not due to weather so much, but could have been due to weather, but due to other scenarios, almost didn't make it back to York, at least when they were supposed to. But if you could shed some light on that, and in general, how the trip played out.
The trip was great. I mean, I think it was we'll start with the on-field perspective. The Spartans went 3-1. Had a really good week. The one loss came to Muhlenberg. It was 7-1. Just didn't play real well, but bounced back and got a 24-7 victory over Grove City. Decided to go for the field goal at the end of the game instead of the touchdown. But they played really well. Did a good job. A lot of really good performances. Stephen Mealy came back and started his senior year with a bang. He hit 600 on the trip. He was 9 for 15, 4 runs scored, a double, 2 triples, 6 RBIs, a .933 slugging percentage in his first 4 games. Also picked up a save. It's always nice when you can have your leading hitter go out and pick up a save too. But Derek Pitzer, Brad Wenzel, all played well, and really a pretty good performance by the Spartans. One highlight is really the performance of the bullpen. They came out and did a great job. The starters were pretty good. The bullpen was lights out as they gave up a 1 earned run in about 16 innings of work. So pretty good job by them. Got a great start from Randy Frankenfield in game 2. He allowed a run on 4 hits in 8 innings, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, as he really has gotten off to a good start. And if we have him be good this year along with Dan Gerganis and Elliot Mortimer, we have a chance to have a really, really good pitching staff, at least fronted by those 3 guys. And if the bullpen continues to throw well, that'll be a huge plus. So all in all, a good start on the field. Little rough trip back as the bus had some mechanical difficulties, and they were coming home on Thursday on Friday after the snowstorm, and they ended up not getting home till later on Friday after starting their trip on Thursday. So it was an interesting trip back, but everybody made it home safe. And I know the guys are itching to get on the field and play, and that's the one bad part of when our spring break is. The spring break's so early that it's tough to hit the ground running and play games. I mean, the Southern Virginia doubleheader schedule for Saturday was postponed. The rowing game tomorrow has been postponed. The Franklin and Marshall game on Thursday has been postponed. So I think the best case scenario is the Spartans play a game at home on Saturday, a doubleheader against Marymount, maybe, if everything goes well. If not, they're home next week too. So we actually had a schedule of 8 of our next 9 games at home. Many of those probably aren't getting played, and that's just part of it's part of playing baseball where we play baseball. So hopefully they can get back on track and have the opportunity to start playing some baseball again. Because unfortunately, what happens is you continue to get backed up as these games get backed up. You're playing, instead of playing 4 games in a week, you're playing 6 games in a week, and it really can kind of wreak havoc on your pitching staff.
And your class schedule, too, I would imagine.
Well, and our guys, I give our guys a ton of credit. Specifically baseball and softball, they miss a lot of class time, but those kids do a really good job of kind of prioritizing and making sure that they're, doing their work as well as spending as much time on the field as they do. And, our guys bust their butt, and they do really, academically, baseball is one of our better performers. So, and a lot of credit is to our kids who make the conscientious effort to do what they need to do and be in class. So that's, it's tough. The springtime's tough for them, but they do a great job of handling it.
Now, I understand that the spring trip to start the season is not always easy. I know it's only 4 games, 3-1, but are there any conclusions we can draw from our first 4 games of how good the team might be positioned to look this season?
I think we're going to pitch pretty well. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to play pretty good defense. If we score runs at the clip we're at right now, that bodes well. Obviously, you need to score to win, but I think we're going to be pretty good throwing the ball. We're going to be pretty good catching the ball, and I think if you do those 2 things well in Division III baseball, you're going to have a chance to be successful. So they've gotten off to a good start and really are doing things that they need to be successful. And unfortunately, baseball is a game of rhythm, and they got into a good rhythm in week 1, and now, they have to sit a little bit and not play. So, Coach Scappa's been through this. He's certainly a veteran of these experiences. He'll have our guys throwing. The pitchers will be on schedule, and they'll be ready to throw this week if we play, and if not, they'll be ready to throw next week, and he'll have our guys prepared.
And your 3 offensive big guns in Mealy, Wenzel, and Pitzer, I think, then come out of the gate strong like that. It's very encouraging. And this, like you said, Frankenfield pitched well, and he pitched well last year. He just the record didn't show because he didn't get the run support. So for him to come out and start strong again, I think is a good thing moving forward for them.
Well, and anytime you have 3 horses, Gerganis, Mortimer, and Frankenfield, if you have 3 guys like that at the top of your rotation, you're going to have a chance to be successful. And you're right. And a good bullpen with experience. Zach Philippi is throwing the ball really well. Andrew Tucci. You have Mealy coming out. So we have some guys that can throw the baseball, and that's certainly at Division III level. You're going to have a chance to be pretty successful if you have those combination of things.
24 runs on 23 hits. What, Scap can't ask for that every day?
I'm not sure we're going to get that, but hey, if we average 5 runs a game.
That was the 4th game, by the way.
Yeah, if we average 5 runs a game, we're going to be in great shape because I think our pitching will be able to hold our opponents on average below that. And I think that the opportunity to do that will certainly be there. And we're going to have some tough games. The conference is going to be tough this year, like it always is. And it'll be very interesting to see how the schedule will play a role in who ends up winning the conference. Because if you have a bunch of games start training back to back, the depth of the pitching staff becomes a factor.
Yeah. Have you seen the college game have a bit of a decrease in offense?
Oh, when they change the bats, there's no different. And quite frankly, it's a better game.
Yeah.
I would much rather watch a 5-4, 5-3 game than an 11-10 game. I mean, to me, it's more, even though you'd have a one-run difference, the ability to have little things count a little bit more, getting the bunt down, taking the extra base, being aggressive on a pass ball or a wild pitch that bounces in front of the catcher. That's one area I think we're going to be pretty good. I think we're going to do a good job of doing the little things, and I think that in this college game the way it is now, that makes a huge difference. Doing the little things and really being good at those little things will help us be a really good team.
I do remember back at the turn of the century, some of those really good teams that we had, the approach was like guerrilla ball, LSU style.
We are going to bludgeon you to death.
Exactly.
And if we have to win 22-21.
And they did sometimes.
But I think it's the focus I appreciate as somebody who really likes baseball. I like being good on defense and pitching well. I think that can be more discouraging to me than getting bludgeoned. I think when you have a pitching staff that can shut people down, that can be more fun to watch, just from a perspective of that they're going to be defeated before they even go out there because they know your pitchers are really good, and defensively you're not going to hurt yourself. So, maybe I'm a little old school on that, but I kind of like watching that type of baseball.
Probably a lot of people that would agree with you on that. And if we play Saturday at home against Marymount, 2 7s or 2 9s?
Those are 2 9s now.
2 9s
now. So, it's to make it even, because not everybody plays the traditional doubleheader. Sometimes, like, we'll play Penn State Harrisburg at home and home. They want to keep it even and play 9 innings each. So, 2 9-inning games. That can make for a lengthy day sometimes.
Well, I saw the 3-1 win was played in about 2.5 hours. The 24-7 win was well over 3. Yeah. So who knows what we might get? Well,
and when you have well-pitched games, usually those games they can be pretty quick, which is kind of fun to watch. It's hey, I'm a huge fan of baseball, but I'm also a huge fan of well-played, clean games. I like those. And we did a pretty good job. We had a couple errors over the weekend or over the trip, but for the most part, they didn't really come back to haunt us. I think of the runs we allowed, we only gave up 3 unearned runs. So, that's not too bad.
And for being on the field for the first time this year, I think that's pretty good if you can keep your errors down. We had like 1 or 2 on the week. So, it's pretty impressive for guys that are just stepping onto a grass field to play clean like that. Is very good.
Yeah, good start. 3-1. We'll see when they play next. But if one
check YCPSpartans.com. That's the best source to find out when the team's actually going to get on the field and play.
Definitely. But a good start indeed. We'll take our first break here on York College Spartans Sports Weekly. Talk some softball, and we'll check in with head coach Jen Pettis coming up. Scott Geis was busy at the interview sessions this morning, so we appreciate that. We'll hear from 3 of our head coaches here on this week's show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment here on Sports Radio 1350, WOYK1350.com, and the WOYK mobile apps.
Turning a double play takes teamwork, and so does preparing for life's challenges. Murray Securus works with you, hand in hand, providing thoughtful solutions to help you plan for the future. Team up with Murray Securus for safer, more secure risk management, personal insurance, health benefits, wealth management, even cutting-edge human resource solutions for individuals and small to large businesses. Living life in a winning way just takes a little teamwork. Call Murray Securus today at 397-9600 or go to murrayins.com.
Blazing fast service for all of your wipeouts. OSS Health Urgent Care will take care of all of your muscular and skeletal sprains, pops, twists, and breaks in minutes, not hours. Open 7 days a week for your urgent orthopedic needs. Now at 2 convenient locations, 1855 Powder Mill Road in York and 856 Century Drive in Mechanicsburg. Visit us online at osshealth.com. OSS Health Urgent Care. Experience you can trust.
Dad, I'm home. Why am I not surprised to find you laying on the couch?
Oh, hi, son. Is your fall semester over already?
Yep, I love it at York College, and I really like living on campus this year.
Yeah, that reminds me. We need to have a little talk. You know, about the facts of life.
Dad, we had that talk years ago. And anyway, I don't believe you ordered me from Amazon.com.
I mean, your mom and I are helping to pay for your college as much as we can, but now you've got room and board on top of books and tuition, and you haven't asked me once for money.
Dad, I told you last year that York Educational Federal Credit Union took care of all that. That student choice loan we applied for last year was a one-time application. All I have to do this year is tell them how much I need, and they send the money right to the school. The loan is set up similar to my Stafford loan, so I don't have to start making payments until 6 months after I graduate. I told you YEFCU rocks.
College has been good for you, son. You're smarter already.
York Educational Federal Credit Union, 1601 South Queen Street, York. Apply online at yefcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Believe it or not, spring is coming, and we've got the bases covered like Etch with dirt during a tantrum. Join Darryl Henry and Atlantic League Manager of the Year Mark Mason for Revs Hot Stove Weekly every Friday at 4. Breaking news each week with the latest player signings exclusively here first. Plus fan interaction online, interviews with players, and we'll highlight really good calls from umpires. Maybe we should have stopped with interviews with players. Revs Hot Stove Weekly, Fridays at 4 on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
From March 7th through Selection Sunday on March 15th, Westwood One is your home for Conference Championship Week. We've got championship action from the Pac-12, the Big East, the SEC, the Atlantic 10, and a whole lot more. Who will get the automatic bids to the tournament? Who will be this year's Cinderella? And whose bubble will burst? Tune in to find out. If it's Conference Championship Week, it's right here.
Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. Your home for York's home team. The York College Spartans play here. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, York.
College Spartans Sports Weekly. Darryl Henry along with Scott Geist, Derek Berenshausen. Ray Jensen is in the studio as well, making his appearance here this week. And guys, we move on to softball in this segment, and a busy start for their season, of course, with their spring trip as well. And off to a pretty good start. The first 10 games, above 500 at 6-4 at this point in time.
With a really young team. 15 newcomers to the team, 4 returning veterans. To come back 6-4, I think, is a great result. And not only come back 6-4, but get some close wins. There was a couple close losses, but there were some wins that were pretty impressive in terms of being able to come back and pick up a victory. Freshman Courtney Martin in the circle, I should say, not on the mound, in the circle, got off to a great start to her freshman year. She threw 67 of our 69 innings, so that's a pretty high workload. But she was great. Finished 6-4 on the trip, 1.78 ERA. She had 3 shutouts, 9 complete games. She struck out 39 and only walked 7 in her 67 innings of work. So an impressive start for the freshman. She's going to be really good for us, and I know Coach Pedersen, talking to her, was thrilled at how well she played or how well she pitched. She said she really just gutted it out, really played tough, and she'll talk about that in our interview here in a little bit. But Katie Maloney and Carly Ruman, a pair of returners, were great. Katie hit 357. Carly hit 300 with 3 bombs. Coach said they were some majestic shots. So can't wait till they're at home and get an opportunity to see this team in action. But Savannah Zittel, who didn't play didn't hit the first couple. She just played in the outfield as for the DP, and she actually had 2 game-winning hits to end the trip. So a lot of really good things that happened, and certainly the Spartans. It's nice to get off to a good start. It's nice to They played really well defensively. They only had 7 errors in 10 games, which is a great start. So, the kind of the straw that stirs the drink, that was easy for me to say, is Katie Maloney. I mean, she had 10 hits and 28 at-bats, had 8 runs scored, 7 RBIs, 2 doubles, and a triple. Not only that, but she was flawless in 51 attempts at shortstop. And you know how, shortstop's a hard position. She was fantastic. So, all in all, a great start to the team, to the season, and certainly I know Coach Pettis is pretty excited about with the direction of this team that they're going right now. We are joined by York College softball coach Jen Pettis, coming off their spring trip in which they went 6-4. Coach, thanks for joining us.
How you doing, Scott?
Good. Hey, let's talk about the trip. You go down, very young team, get the opportunity to pick up 6 wins. What are your thoughts coming back home after the trip?
Well, to be honest, I'm very pleased with how this group performed down south. I really, understandably, I feel like we had some performances that we could have pulled a couple of the other games out, but overall, looking at a young group of kids, in general, I would say we have certainly been battle-tested. We have made it through some really tough games, required some grit to pull out 1-run wins against Olivet, against Franklin. We really, at the 10th game, at the end of the day, we go 10 innings in our 10th game and pull it out in the end. And those are just some really great momentum games for us looking forward. So as a coach, I couldn't be happier. The fact this young group showed such grit, such heart, such fight to stay in it to the end really gets us primed up, ready to start the season up here in the north.
You got a number of really good performances highlighted by freshman Courtney Martin. She threw all but 2 innings of 10 games. Talk about how she did really in her first collegiate action.
Well, she just truly was amazing, to be honest with you. As a freshman, man, she threw the ball so well. Her command of her pitches was phenomenal. She was just a trooper all the way through. And again, right until the end, where she was throwing in that 10-inning game, still hitting her spots, still having command of the game. She really led this team to allow us to have 1-run games. She shut down opponents. When we're scraping a run across, she had the shutout that we needed. And her demeanor on the mound is one to be envied as a freshman. The fact that she stayed in control regardless of the situation. I couldn't be prouder. She actually stepped up and did exactly what we thought she would do. And she truly was an ace for us all week long.
You don't have many returners, but the ones that you have obviously played well. Talk a little bit about Katie Maloney and Carly Ruhlman and their performances this week.
Well, I think, the expectations were high, of course, for Katie, and she bears some of that on her shoulders, being co-rookie of the year, and that pressure never gets to her. That's one thing about Katie. Her performance was solid all the way through. She was sure-handed as always in the field, not an error in 10 games. She was perfect on defense, also was a spark for us on offense as usual. She had some bunt for base hits. She did a lot of good things to give us the momentum swings that we needed. Carly Ruhlman, was solid for us at first base. Steps up, hits 3 bombs down south, and they were absolute bombs. They were fun to watch going over the fence. Those types of things are automatic momentum swings. Both of them were key in doing so, and Vanessa just had an awesome presence behind the plate. She threw kids out like it was her job. Also fun to watch. Nobody got to second on that. She really she had such a command, and for her to work with Courtney as a freshman and that battery was intimidating for the teams. I was very, very pleased with all 3.
You have a lot of freshmen that played, obviously. Talk about some of the kids you thought stood out during the trip.
Most certainly. I mean, almost the underdog, Savannah Zittel. As we went down there with a game plan, she wasn't scheduled to hit in the first couple of games, and she played defense, and she did a solid job on defense, great reads on the ball in the outfield. She did a really nice job. She came in as a middle infielder, transitioned very well to an outfielder. But I'll tell you, that kid with 2 walk-off wins.
That's a pretty good way to start your career.
That's a great way to start. And, all smiles, very contained, but I couldn't be, more proud as a coach to be able to go up to a kid like that and say, "Job well done." She just did her job, and she did it with such pride and commitment. And those were just those moments you don't forget. I'm sure she won't forget them. Our team won't forget them. And certainly, we appreciate her coming through to get us the W. But by all means, a standout performance for her. She really, really excelled.
Now you come back. It's not very nice here with what's on the ground. How do you keep that momentum going? Obviously, you had a great trip. How do you keep that going until you actually get to play another game?
Well, I think, Scott, that's the hard part, for all of us outdoor sports that have to come back from sunny Florida and go back inside for practice. And I think that's a challenge for me, that I need to step up and make sure that the issues that we're addressing we do in such a way that keeps us rolling forward. And we can't get stagnant just because we come back and it's not 85 degrees and sunny.
I think we'd all kill for that.
I think, and it was very enjoyable. But I think that, one of the things that we need to be able to do is to keep ourselves on track, understand that we will get out on our field very soon. And with that in mind, we do have some things that we all want to work on, and we're going to make sure that we develop our practice plans accordingly. Hopefully, the turf is something that we do hope to see while we get our practices going, so we're not just stuck inside. But I think we're going to do just fine. This group is a really good group of kids.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by and talking to us. We can't wait to see your team play. It looks like it's going to be a very exciting season.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Scott. The softball team scheduled to be back at it next Monday at Elizabethtown. Wanted to go back to, you mentioned Courtney Martin's 67 out of 69 team innings. And is that every year or most years that the team has somebody like that? Or do you see sometimes a split down the middle, two-person starting staff? Or do you ever get to three?
Well, I think if you have depth, you do.
Yeah.
I think if you have the ability to do that. But, right now, we haven't had that for a while. We haven't had that one stud pitcher. And let's face it, softball is all about one thing, pitching. If you have good pitching, you have a chance to be successful. If you don't have good pitching, you're going to lose a lot of games. And certainly Courtney has shown the ability to be able to have high innings. However, you'd like to not have to have her throw all the time. I think it was a situation in Florida out of necessity that we needed to stay close. And I know Coach has a couple other players. There are a couple other pitchers that she thinks can be successful, and it's just going to take some time for some of those kids to get that experience and have the opportunity to throw. But certainly Courtney is a top of the line, number one bona fide starter. But it's so different than baseball, where you can't throw. Baseball pitchers are throwing 8 innings, maybe 9 at the most, and they're done for a week. Certainly not the case in softball. So I think Courtney's going to do a good job for us.
Yeah, typically in softball, you're going to have, if you have one really good arm, you're going to ride that arm as long as you can. And then, like we said, when depth is an issue, and I think she wanted to see get a good look at her early on to see, okay, what can she do? So she tried to pitch her as much as possible. But yeah, typically in softball, you have one stud, you're going to ride that stud as long as possible.
Must have been quite the gathering in Fort Myers, too. 10 different opponents, right, out of 10 games played?
Yeah, and that's, usually we're on spring break at a really early part of the season. An early part for a lot of people. A lot of schools are going in the next 2 weeks. We'll have spring break, but we go pretty much a week or two earlier than everybody else. So it was nice to go down and see some different teams, which was, I think, beneficial to the team. And, they got to see a couple of their opponents early, especially I believe it was Olivet had a pretty impressive performance a day before we played them, and I think our girls are kind of like, hey, this is a pretty good team. But the great thing about this group of kids is they know no better. They just go out and play. There's not that expectation or anything. They go out and play the game of softball, which is fun to watch, because in the past I think we might have gotten intimidated or a little psyched out. No, not this group. They just go out and they want to go have fun and play college softball.
Well, I'm scheduled to be at home for the first time March 26th against Lycoming. And if they're able to do that, it would be the first of 3 straight home doubleheaders and 6 out of 7. So a little while until the softball team is at home. Is it easier to get that dirt field ready, or same?
Yeah, that
same
field that field drains a little bit better just because of where it's positioned. So it's not. We got a better chance of playing softball earlier than we do baseball now. You look at the schedule and we don't play. We're not at home for a while. So that field, the biggest thing in getting that field ready is for practice at this point in time, which they should be able to do. And I think Coach does a pretty good job of scheduling games later. The beauty of softball is they all have double headers. So while you still have 40 games, you only have 20 dates. Whereas baseball, the double headers are fewer, so you're actually playing more days. So things get a little bit more compacted. So she enables the team to not have to play, not have to schedule a ton of games early, but be able to backload it and play more consecutive days. But you're playing 2 games in a day, so it eases on the scheduling a little bit.
Well, baseball and softball both off to a good start. We'll take a break here on your College Spartans Sports Weekly. Check in on men's and women's lacrosse when we come back here on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Hi, I am Cindy Scullion, one of the proud owners of Frank Storm & Company. We have been voted one of the best for 14 years by the York Dispatch readers for your personal and business tax needs. Call one of my partners or competent staff to set up your tax appointment for your 2014 taxes. We also can handle doing payrolls, sales tax, and compilations for your businesses. Give us a call at one of our 3 convenient locations, York, Dallastown, and Hanover.
Hey athletes, does the winter weather dampen your sports training? It doesn't have to. Take your game inside at Backyard University, York's spectacular indoor sports training facility, right at home in your backyard. Located inside Fairmont Gym at 201 South Charles Street in Red Lion, Backyard University is a beautiful, state-of-the-art indoor complex for all of your sport needs. Featuring a complete baseball and softball training complex with batting cages, pitching tunnels, and a turf field for the entire team, Backyard hosts camps, clinics, and competitive youth travel teams to play in the region's top tournaments. Join York Revolution greats Jason Espito, Daryl Harang, and Corey Thurman for one-on-one training. And take your speed and agility to a whole new level with professional trainer David Brixius from Explosive Sports Performance. Play your game year-round at Backyard University, right at home in your backyard. Visit online at backyard-university.com.
Security in life isn't something you just wish for. You build it with a strong financial plan. Start with Northwestern Mutual. Together, we'll design a disciplined and balanced approach to financial security, because reaching your goals is something we both want to work toward. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on the Square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
The new Wyndham Garden York, formerly the Holiday Inn by the West Manchester Mall, has been fully renovated and remodeled. With 177 upgraded guest rooms, over 16,000 square feet of meeting space, 2 large ballrooms, indoor and outdoor pools, a much larger fitness center, a new business center, and free Wi-Fi throughout. The new Fender's Grill and Pub features American cuisine in a casual atmosphere using local meats, produce, wine, and craft beers. The new Wyndham Garden, 2000 Louts Road in York. Stop in or call us at 846-9500.
We're Screamin' Green. How about you? The York College Spartans are on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Here on your College Spartans Sports Weekly, we transition to lacrosse as the show moves along here. And guys, we'll start with the women's lacrosse team, who's off to a 3-1 start to begin this season. And how have they looked out there on the frozen tundra of our complex?
It's not the thawing frozen tundra, I guess you could say, Daryl. Last week was a very good week for women's lacrosse. Took down 2 top 20 teams. St. John Fisher last Tuesday ranked 17th, and then Ithaca on Saturday ranked 18th. And like you said about our baseball and softball teams, our women's team is also like East. They also migrated south. They went to Puerto Rico on Tuesday to face St. John Fisher Tuesday morning, and they won that game 12-11. And that was a really, really good game, exciting game. I kind of look at it as like a basketball game. It was kind of like a game of runs. They score 2, we come back, score 2. They score, we come back, score 3. So it was just a great game, a great bounce back win after playing F&M the week before, didn't play well, played a little sloppy, came back, went down south, kind of refocused, and came back with a good game, a cleaner game. And then on Saturday, kind of a similar thing. It was a back and forth, tight game, and we were able to pull it out towards the end, getting some big offense in the first half. We led 7-3 over Ithaca in the first half, and then Ithaca outscored us in the second half, but we were able to rely on that lead to hold them off. And both those games, you look at the stats, pretty even. I think the two big takeaways you have from those games are we had less turnovers and a better clear percentage. And you look at the first two games, that was kind of the opposite. And I think when the games are close like that, we're able to maintain possession with the clears and also not turn over as much. I think that definitely makes a difference when games are close and you're playing an opponent that's very equal to you. So the little things I think go a long way. And then also a highlight from the week was freshman Lily DeMalucci led the team with 6 goals. She had 2 hat tricks, and with 1 assist, she had 15 total shots. And so that's huge. I think coming into the year, we were kind of looking for that goal scorer. You lost 4 of your top 6 goal scorers from last year. So the question was, who's going to fill the void? Who's going to produce the points? And I think you look at her. Now, she's still a freshman. It's still early in the year, but maybe moving forward, now she's gained some confidence. Maybe she could step up, be that leading scorer for us. And she looks good. She's got a really nice shot. Scott and I were it's
kind of wicked.
Yeah.
She's not a real big kid, but that ball comes off her cross like a rocket. It's impressive.
Yeah, she definitely has a little extra on her shot, and she's smaller in stature, so she's able to fit in the tight spaces and really create, and explosive, very fast. So a lot of good things from her this past week, and I think a lot of good things for the women's lacrosse team, taking down 2 ranked opponents. I think that should definitely give them some confidence moving forward. Those are 2 big wins.
Well, and I think, too, the opportunity to get out, when they went south down to Puerto Rico, they were actually able to get outside and practice. It's one thing that we've been able to play games, but we haven't practiced a lot outside, and that really has hurt. That's kind of been a drawback for the men's team right now, is they haven't had an opportunity to practice outside. The women, unfortunately for them, got to go down and practice. I think they practiced, at least 4 times in addition to a game.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to go down and practice in warm weather and get loose and really run around and raise your level of conditioning. It's an opportunity that really was pretty advantageous to them and really kind of be able to get them going a little momentum as they head into a pretty tough stretch of schedule.
And Scott, you had the chance to recap the big week with head coach Jen Mustin earlier today.
We are here with York College women's lacrosse coach Jen Mustin after the Spartans have started the season 3-1, including a trip to Puerto Rico. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Hey, talk a little bit about the trip to Puerto Rico. You go down, get a great experience, get a win against a nationally ranked squad. Tell everybody about the trip.
The trip was great. I mean, we obviously were focused from the very beginning on getting things done on the field, in practice, and then in our game. I know the girls were excited about just being in Puerto Rico and some of the extracurriculars that we were going to take part in, but we really were focused on growing as a team on the field, off the field, and really taking care of some of the things that we needed to work on in order to come back and be ready to go for some of these harder games that we have coming up. So the weather was great. It was 80 degrees every day. It rained, but we didn't mind, and it was kind of a nice change from what we have here. We got some good practice sessions in, and we were able to win our game, which was a very meaningful win for us. And so, after all that, we were then able to enjoy ourselves in some excursions. And, we did a rainforest tour, and we got to go, cliff jumping and got to go off see a couple waterfalls. And that's just an experience that you can't really mimic, and a type of team bonding that you can't really compare to anything that we might do here in the locker room or on the turf. So I think that brought us really close as a team, and they seemed pretty focused, after all that, knowing that everyone's on the same page on the field and now off the field. So I think it was really good for us.
3-1 so far of the year, 2 wins over nationally ranked teams. What's the state of your team right now?
I think we're gaining more confidence as we go. We're seeing what the things that we're really good at, and we're gaining more just experience in the game. Some of our younger players are gaining more experience and getting challenged differently every day. And I think as time goes on, we're getting more sure of ourselves in different areas of our game, which is beginning to show. And so, there are some things that we still need to work on and some things that we need to take care of. But I think confidence is one main thing that we're looking at now with just some of the quality wins that we've gotten and how the girls are feeling about winning those games. Some of the tight situations that we've overcome have given them a little bit of excitement and confidence, and I think that's, kind of what's pushing us forward.
You go out and get a good win on Saturday. You come back home after this great trip. It was a close game against, I think, another nationally ranked team, which we play. What are your thoughts on the win on Saturday?
Again, it's exciting to get a win like that against a really competitive team, especially after coming off of such a high on the trip, and we really wanted to carry that through and not have a letdown. So I think that was really important. It's always good to get a win against someone that is ranked and that, really want, they came in and they wanted to beat us, and that's great. We want to play teams that want to come in and try to knock us down, and, we feel the same way. So it's a nice competitive rivalry, and, they gave us it wasn't easy. They gave us a couple scary situations there down the stretch, and, it's really meaningful when you beat a team like that because it means something when they're competing at a high level and so are you. So I think, again, that gives us confidence moving forward into this week as it is another challenging week.
Fantastic. Coach, thanks for taking the time, and good luck the rest of the week.
Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you, Scott. And a good week indeed. Great week for the York College women's lacrosse team. And Derek, a few other odds and ends there. And in fact, I believe that's where we have our breaking news on this week's show.
That'd be correct, Daryl.
Yeah. Do we want the clip?
If you have it,
we do want the clip.
Cue it up.
All right. Well, we have the clip right about here, and have it very shortly. I don't know where the clip went.
That's okay. We'll roll with it.
Live radio, nothing like it.
Completely live.
Lily Damalugi is our Spartan Athlete of the Week, as we mentioned before, a pair of hat tricks. She had 4 points on 3 goals and 1 assist in the win over St. John Fisher, and then 3 goals on the win against Ithaca. She also picked up 2 ground balls and caused 1 turnover on the week and was 1 for 1 on free position attempts. So an outstanding week for her, a breakout performance in the game against St. John Fisher. So we're looking for big things from her to continue moving forward. And then also the Capital Athletic Conference released their weekly awards, and junior defender Meg Strauch was the defensive player of the week, as she totaled 8 ground balls, 7 draw controls, and caused 4 turnovers, in addition to registering 2 assists on the week. So a good week for her as well. She's been a steady cog in that defensive midfield, that defensive role. Definitely going to lean on her moving forward to kind of anchor that defensive unit for the Spartans.
Well, and Meg is just so tough and so physical, but also very athletic. Her ability to, one of her valuable traits is to really get the ball up on the clear. She transitions. She's kind of that key cog in transitioning from defense to offense, and she does a great job of that. She can also facilitate as a passer at the top of the offense. But really, she's tough. She's a tough kid, and really isn't afraid to stick her nose in it and make a play. And she was an all-region player last year. She's a smart kid. She was a all-district academic All-America pick last year. So, yeah, she's one of the certainly a key member and one of the most experienced members of that team. And, the defense is playing pretty well right now. Carly Doherty, Aaron Mensch, Meg Strauch, they're all playing well early on in the season.
And just one more quick note, new rankings came out today. Spartans move up to 12th in the rankings, move from 13th to 12th. Not a big jump, but still a jump nonetheless. And as we look down the schedule, it doesn't get much easier.
No.
The Spartans have 6 of the top 20 teams on the schedule. We played 3 of those teams so far, and then 3 other teams who are receiving votes are still on the schedule. So that's a total of 9 teams on your schedule that are essentially in the top 25 in the country. So we think it's definitely one of the toughest schedules in the country. I don't know how many other teams are running the type of gauntlet we're running, but it's good.
We talk. Jen Mustin's not afraid to play anybody. She'll play anybody anywhere. and it's important to her to give her kids a great experience. And she tells them when she's recruiting them, you're going to play a lot of big games during your career, and certainly she does not shy away from playing some of the best teams in the country.
I found the clip.
Man, you're on top of it, Daryl.
You are all over it.
It's like right there, right in front of my face.
That's okay. Next week.
Next week. No right word.
We can't have everything go perfect in the first week in the studio. I mean, we would just have to shut it down if that happened.
Well, it never did over in the other ones, so why would it?
New place, new digs. Maybe a different way, different approach.
Next week.
Well,
we'll talk men's lacrosse and preview Ryan Flynn heading to nationals with wrestling as well as we head into our final segment. Much more to come. Stay with us here on your College Spartan Sports Weekly.
Get ready for winter now and save big on your heating oil or propane costs. Call today to schedule your first fill, and don't forget to ask our energy advisors about the right money-saving plan or budget to fit your lifestyle. Lock in your rate and protect your price all winter. Our price-protected customers save an average of $325 per year. Visit ShipleyEnergy.com or call 855-4SHIPLEY to schedule your next heating oil or propane delivery. Shipley Energy, energy for life.
At OSS Health, our highly trained physicians are on the field, in the training room, at home games, or away. From preseason physicals to postseason surgery, we're on the sidelines so athletes don't have to be, getting you back in the game. When it comes to sports medicine, we're the ones you've trusted for 30 years. OSS Health Sports Medicine, experience you can trust. Visit us online at osshealth.com.
At Northwestern Mutual, we take a disciplined and balanced approach to financial planning. Together, we'll help build your financial future on time-tested principles, not market trends, so you can take advantage of life's opportunities. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on a square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
The new Wyndham Garden York, formerly the Holiday Inn by the West Manchester Mall, has been fully renovated and remodeled. With 177 upgraded guest rooms, over 16,000 square feet of meeting space, 2 large ballrooms, indoor and outdoor pools, a much larger fitness center, a new business center, and free Wi-Fi throughout. The new Fender's Grill and Pub features American cuisine in a casual atmosphere using local meats, produce, wine, and craft beers. The new Wyndham Garden, 2000 Louts Road in York. Stop in or call us at 846-9500.
Your home for the Spartans. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Old guy radio music without old guy radio itself.
Hey, because we got lots of good things to talk about.
We do.
Next week, if we don't play any games, we might not have anything to talk about.
Be an hour of old guy radio.
That might be entertaining. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll know when we do it. Well, the men's lacrosse team, obviously a difficult week for them, Scott. What did you see? And I don't know. Did the first one lead to the next one? Is it kind of similar thing that they need to get out of a funk there?
I think the biggest problem is they haven't practiced. And if you look at this team, the way it's composed, we're really experienced on the attack. We're really experienced on defense. We're experienced in the goal. We're incredibly young and inexperienced in the midfield. And unfortunately, in lacrosse, if you're young in the midfield and don't have a chance to work on it in practice, that's going to hurt you. And right now, we're just we're not able to transition. We're not able to transition from offense or from defense to an effective offense. Obviously we have a lot of skill guys on offense. Tyler Hudson, Dylan Hanna, Andrew Gamble. I mean, you have some really good guys on offense. We just have to get better at transitioning, and we will get better. Right now, the loss to Roanoke, not a terrible loss. It's a pretty talented team. The loss to Messiah is not great. They had some pretty significant losses to Stevenson and Gettysburg. So, it's one of those games that you're going to look back. It's going to be a turning point. Is it going to be, are we going to turn the corner and really blossom from this and start to play well and kind of get our footing and go? Or is it going to be something kind of rears its head and continues to haunt us a little bit? So, I know the guys were excited to get back to work today, kind of put that bad taste out of their mouths and really kind of get back on the field and go. But it's going to be a situation where this is, everybody forget, we have a couple seniors. We don't have many. The junior class is really, that's Coach Child's first recruiting class. That's probably our biggest class. So these guys are still, there's still a little bit of youth involved, and certainly a lot of youth in the midfield where we had to replace 2 All-Americans in James Lowe and Seth Krolla. So, it's still a process, and obviously nobody likes to have the kind of loss that we had on Saturday. It just was, it was painful. It's one of those ones where you look back and go, ugh, it's not a game you should lose. But credit Messiah, they played well and they did what they had to do, and it's disappointing. There's no question about it. But this team will bounce back, and they're going to have an opportunity on Wednesday. Go to Gettysburg, who is, I believe, they're ranked 8th. I believe in the country. We went
just never stops.
We went from 6th to now.
We are 16th.
Yeah, which is I'm surprised we're still in the rankings. Yeah. But that shows you the kind of respect that Coach Childs has garnered, and the Spartans are going to have an opportunity to kind of move back up, and certainly a win at Gettysburg would be big. But Gettysburg's playing great right now, so it's going to be a tough test. I mean, there are not many gimmies on this schedule this year, much like the women. And, if you're going to have a nationally ranked program, you need to play nationally ranked teams, and that's what we have. So, it's the Roanoke game. We just didn't play well in the fourth quarter. It's a 7-7 game. They shut us out 3-0 in the fourth. The Messiah game, I thought we lacked some enthusiasm. I just didn't think we played with that passion that you normally see our team playing with. But, that'll get corrected pretty quick. Coach Childs does a great job. In fact, one of the highlights for me in the Messiah game is we have the ball with 22 seconds left. Coach Child calls a timeout, draws up a play, boom, we get a goal. So, it's kind of nice when you have a guy on the sideline that is talented enough to be able to know his players and draw something up that can be successful, especially late in games.
Scott, you had a chance to catch up with Coach after the game on Wednesday against Roanoke.
We're here with York College head men's lacrosse coach Brandon Childs after the Spartans' 10-7 setback against Roanoke College. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Give us your thoughts about the game today. It was a close game going into the last quarter. What are your thoughts on the game?
The first word that comes to mind is sloppy. I felt like, we actually played hard and competed and did great on ground balls and face-offs and played pretty good one-on-one defense. And I thought we played pretty good 6-on-6 offense. It's just between the lines we're struggling. And we just turned it over. Anytime you turn it over 26 times, you probably shouldn't win that game, especially against a great opponent like Roanoke.
0 for 6 on the extra man today. Is it something that's fixable, or just a point of guys playing together a little bit more?
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. Our continuity isn't great there, and we just need some leadership at that end of the field. We do so much coaching and practice, and then the games happen, and you're so far removed. You can be right on top of the action in practice, and then in games you're kind of stuck on the side there. And I think there were a lot of times where we weren't on the same page with the man-up unit today. And I think we, in practice, kind of have to take a step back as coaches and let the players lead it a little bit, so we get better communication, on game day.
Is it good to have a game in 2 days to be able to come back and kind of get back on the horse in terms of playing on Saturday, or would you rather have a little bit more time to practice?
I guess it goes both ways. I would definitely like to have more time to practice. I think so much of what's going on is the absence of a full field to practice on, and now where they're calling for snow tonight. So, we can't even get better at the things that we need to get better at tomorrow. And so with that in mind, I'd say having a game on Saturday is the best thing. So we just get out there and, try to get this one out of our system a little bit.
What were some of the bright spots in today? Who did you feel played well in today's game?
Defensively in general, I think we were pretty good as a defensive unit. I thought our both goalies played great, and our defensive units. I like their midfielder a lot, and I thought that Dale Kowach and Tyler Fields shut him down and did great on their matchup. I think in general, I think the 4 goals the one kid from Roanoke scored is a little misleading because a lot of them happened in transition and off of unsettled stuff. But Sam London was great on ground balls. Conrad Ordakowski was great on ground balls. Taylor Tolbert plays great in these kinds of physical games, and Jake Cashmark was great at the face-off X. And I felt like offensively we played fine when we got to the 6-on-6 sets. Just struggled so much to play with some composure in the middle of the field, and think our inexperienced midfield showed itself today.
All right, good luck on Saturday against Messiah, and we'll talk to you after that game.
Great, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Coach. And guys, to wrap up this week, by the way, the men's lacrosse team, as you mentioned already, so I don't have to repeat it, at Gettysburg. I was thinking we'd preview where they are next, but you did mention that. Nicely done. Tomorrow, right? Or is that
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
The day after Tuesday.
Right, 3:30. It's just bringing me up.
And the women's team is at Messiah at 4 o'clock, so 2 local area teams.
And baseball and softball are already postponed, so we're probably going to go different ways and go cover the games.
Only games in town. Well, Derek, give us a quick preview. Mr. Flynn heading to Wrestling Nationals as we wrap up this week.
Correct. Ryan Flynn will be competing at NCAA Nationals at Giant Center in Hershey Friday and Saturday. Friday there will be the wrestling kicks off at 11 a.m. There will be a opening ceremonies at 10, then wrestling will start at 11, first round matches. And then after that, it will be 6 o'clock Friday. If he wins his second match on Friday at 6, he will then be off until Saturday morning. If not, he will wrestle Friday night. So it could potentially just be 2 matches on Friday. And he is ranked 7th in his bracket and will be, I think talking with Coach Bastress, he feels good about his chances. He's going to a lot of the guys in his bracket he's faced already. He's got the kid from Mount Union who he beat in the regional championship match, and then another guy on his side of the bracket is a guy from Ithaca who he faced at the New Standard Invitational. So some familiarity there, and Coach Bastress feels good about where he's at health-wise. He said he looks good, he looks strong, he looks healthy, well-rested. He's been getting a lot of practice in this week. So we're expecting good things and big things from him come this weekend.
Yeah, we'll certainly take a look back at this time next Monday.
We're excited. We're actually both going up. So I've never been to a national championship for wrestling, so I'm kind of excited to see what it's like.
It's right here.
Yeah, it's right in Hershey. So
and again, 11 a.m. is when they will start wrestling on Friday. Opening ceremonies at 10 a.m.
Yeah, so a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, wish him the best of luck. Guys, thank you very much for this week once again. We'll do it again next Monday at 4.
Sounds fantastic.
Thanks, Daryl.
All right, this has been your College Spartans Sports Weekly. For Scott Geis and Derek Berenshausen, Daryl Henry saying so long. We'll talk to you next week.
Your home for York's home team. The York College Spartans play here. Sports Radio 1350, WOYK, York.